everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Behind the Screen. This is our behind-the-scenes look on the Tides of Wildemount campaign, as well as everything RealmSmith. This is where we do a Q&A. It's open, so you guys can ask your questions about last night's session, or this campaign, or exactly all that is going on, and how we do what we do for RealmSmith. And this is Bruno. And he has his cone off. He had a cone of shame on for like 2 months. And he is a different dog now, and he is super happy. And look at that face. Look at that face. Anyways, that's Bruno. Say bye, Bruno. All right, Ethan's going to take him for a walk, so. All right, just settling in. Oh, I'm a little sore today. It's okay. Nice and, what's the word I'm looking for? Laid back session tonight. Looking forward to it. Couple quick announcements. First off, I didn't announce it on our session, but I'm going to announce it now, and that is that we have new merch in our store. You can check it out below the video here in our Teespring widget on the Twitch page. We have I went to Port D, and all I got was this stupid shirt, which we did right after Isla gave one to Adam, and it was reactive. So she did that. We thought it was funny. We made a shirt. And then we also have a Gaziel Thundersmite shirt for when she summons the radiant energy to Thundersmite her foes. You can check those out. And we've got some other shirt ideas in mind, and we'll be continuing to kind of roll those out. One of my ideas was to have like a marked safe during, and I saw it today. Somebody in the Discord, I think today, said you should do I survived the earthquake of Palma Flora. I thought it would be funny to do like a Facebook notification that says, I marked safe during the Palma Flora earthquake of 437 or whatever year it is right now on the on Wildemount. So if you guys like that idea, maybe sound off in the chat, and maybe we'll take a look at that. But yeah. Tonight is Behind the Screen with myself. If you like what you're seeing, if you follow or subscribe, this little potion bottle here will do funky things. It'll blink once if you follow us. It'll blink multiple times blue if you subscribe, either with Twitch Prime or with your regular Twitch subscription. And that's just our way of letting you know that we know you're here, and that you're helping us out. And that's just a little bit of a thanks to you guys for doing all that you do for us on a regular basis. So Player's Table will be on Thursday. That will be with Joel at 8 p.m. Eastern. Chat's going nuts tonight. I love this. It's just going and going. It's great. That's with Joel, like I said, Thursday night. And then Sunday, back to Nolzer's Marvelous Tutorials. We did the Stone Giant last week. I thought I had it here, but I don't. And then I'm not sure what we'll be doing this coming week. It's a surprise every week, because I haven't planned ahead enough yet. And then we're back, of course, on Monday for Tides of Wildemount, Episode 6. Halfway through, it'll mark our mid-season episode, which we're super pumped about. Okay, let's see. Questions here. Questions. Let me come back up. I'm just scrolling back up to the top tonight. And I'm going to start going through. As Shadster is reminding everyone, please write question before your question in caps, because I'm just scrolling to see that word question, so I don't get bogged down in all the other chat that is happening. Let me see here. Not seeing any. Yeah, here we go. First question from Redbeard76. What is Nora's character in this new series? Nora's character is called Diarco. What's with the... There's something about the air in here on Tuesday nights. That is so strange. Why does that happen? I think it's because of the late night for Mondays for our stream. But anyways, her name is Diarkle, or Diarkle. It was pulled from the Tide of Retribution adventure within the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount, written by James Hake and Matt Mercer and the rest. And she is a half-orc druid. So she's playing an NPC as a PC. A lot of fun. If you've been watching, she's quite involved in what's happening with the Clovis Concord. So take a look at our session. But that is what she's playing. Kyburn says, where did you get the shirt you were wearing last night? It is awesome, and I want one. Oh, shoot. Where was that? It was given to me by Mel's sister. I don't know where I can't remember where she got it. Shoot. I forget, but I'll find out. Kyber, if you want to ask that and tag Mel in the Discord, then maybe she can let you know. Yes, he is so cute. Bruno's the best. Can you briefly describe a walk with Bruno? I walk out my front door. I make a left down the sidewalk. I walk into the park, which is just down the left a bit. We walk up a while, around, across the bridge, back around, and back to my house. And he's very stubborn. He only goes where he wants to be going. So if we're going somewhere he doesn't want to go, I have to drag him, pretty much. But he's just a very stubborn dog, which is typical apparently for Frenchies. So. Did your guest stars like Sakura asks? Did your guest stars like Nora, etc. choose what NPCs they played, or did you ask them? I gave them an open. I sent the Matts, Nora, and all the rest NPCs. Said, "Hey guys, pick from these." And as they came back, I just knocked them off the list. And Nora was the first to pick Diarco, I believe. Before your question, so Jason can eat. Sorry, that is Shatster. See, I see question in the comment. Just finished Sentinels episode 18. I loved the kitty part. I know. Sentinels was a great little series. We're gonna start Throwback Thursday soon, where we post old episodes to fill the gaps in our streams. So, and Gary Diamonds, thank you so much again for gifting tears. That's so great. Duh107, who won the Dice Spinners last night, congratulations, says, how much of the campaign is homebrew and how much is inspired by Matt's world? So right now we're playing through the starting adventure called Tide of Retribution, which appears in the end of the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount. I don't think I have the book here currently. I think it's upstairs. But the rest, so after this next big encounter at Palmaflora, the rest is going to be according to the world, but my own written adventure. And I actually just sent Matt an email last night to ask him some things about the world and so on, and the direction that we want to go. But yeah, so I would say it's not, I wouldn't call it homebrew, because I'll add some NPCs, of course, and all that kind of stuff that you have to do while writing an adventure based on any world. So it's homebrew in the sense that I'm making the adventure mine and I'm deciding where they go, but then I'm pulling from Wildemount. So it's a bit of a mix, I guess you could say. Kyburn says, do you think the party leaned to put on their armor when they wake up? Learned to put on their... Yeah. They had ample time, and I was shocked no one put their armor on despite your subtle reminders. So, yeah. So at the end, Brandon was like, hey, you didn't give us a chance to put on our armor. I said, guys, you wake up. You hear her call out. What do you do? At that point, they could have said, I get up, I put my armor on, and I go outside. But, of course, Bacalhau said, I just go outside because his armor's already on, and the rest of them just followed. So, and they didn't stop me to say I put my armor on. I think they're probably learning their lesson. I think. But we shall see, Kyburn, we shall see. And Duh107 says he's still hyped from last night's session. Good, I'm glad. I'm glad that we have that effect on y'all. Question from Zexis154. Jason, as a DM, have you ever been annoyed so much by one of your players that you almost lost your cool? What did you do when it happened? No, not to the point where I'd like get mad. I have been frustrated with players before, not naming any names at all. But it's, you know, when they talk over each other, or and not necessarily in any of our streams, I don't think. But if you talk over each other, or they get yeah, if what's the word I'm looking for? I totally blanked on the word, but if one player is being distracting to the rest, talking over everybody and being disruptive is the word I was looking for, that is frustrating for me, and I'll just tell them to stop, or after the session ask them not to do that again. That's usually what happens. So yeah, I need to obviously manage that as a DM, as we all do, and sometimes those difficult conversations have to happen. But Yeah, or rules lawyering, things like that. That tends to happen at the table. I've definitely had to deal with that stuff in the past, for sure. Thank you, Sakura, again for gifting a bunch of subs. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Question: would you ever consider inviting a fan to play for players that can't make it to make the stream? Yes, we have considered opening up to a fan or like a viewer to play, and we're still working out how that might happen. So that has definitely been a consideration of ours. Is there any player stuff one can get from the big box? Are you talking about our is there any player stuff one can get from the big box? Let me know what you mean by big box, Pope of Puns. And I don't know if you mean our adventure boxes or something else, so just clarify that, please. Shadster has a question from last night. Josh also answered last night, but you should also weigh in. Brandon and Joel and Adam all want this idea to become a reality. Dag Crystal asked, will there ever be a return to Order of Dragonsbane in the far future? We have talked about it. So we've absolutely discussed bringing Dragonsbane back, but it's a matter of resources and time and slots. So we're pretty committed to bringing the content that we've created into the Mist and, of course, Tides of Wildemount. But I'd love Brandon to come back and DM, because then it means that I don't have to actually DM that session. I can just play. So if we can find another night where we can get the cast around the table and bring them all back, I'd love to. That is absolutely something we've talked about and potentially in the works. So I'd love that. Patron says, what was the armor class and hit points of the Lieutenant Commander? Lieutenant Commander was a bandit captain, and his armor class was 15, wearing studded leather, and his hit points were 65. Let's see here. Question, is there a swimming speed for D&D? Yes, so swimming speed is typically, I believe, half of your speed. So you swim at half the speed, unless you have a swimming speed specifically. Some monsters or some creatures do, like the Sahuagin I have right here. It'll say speed 30 feet, swim 40 feet. So it actually swims faster than it walks. But for regular anybody else, I believe it's half your speed. Adabelle Rosette, who I saw, you said you were somebody in the YouTube, and I was trying to understand who that was. Remind me. But the question is, how do you track things like initiative, hit points, etc. in battle? What do you use? So I used to use these things. I created these little clothespins with the characters' names on them for Into the Mist. That's what I did, and I had them all here, and then I put one in between for monsters. Then I got these wonderful things from Hero Forge, which I use to show when the players are at the table. I'll use it to show what their initiative is, and for people at home to see. And these are all just their player minis, all kind of done up in an initiative tracker system. But I actually been using the encounter tracker from D&D Beyond, which is still in beta, but it's pretty cool. It sets you up, you enter all the initiatives, and then you just click next, and it goes from turn to turn through each round. So that's really cool. So that's what I'm using, the encounter tracker and combat tracker from D&D Beyond. Let's see here. Question. I'm learning how to DM, and I'm starting with the Shattered Shield. Do you have any tips? Oh, Puffy Lion. You're speaking to my heart. Thank you so much. Shattered Shield is the first adventure box in our adventure box series, which you can't subscribe to right now because we're having a hard time getting supplies from or products from our suppliers. But we are still sending out boxes to those that have subscribed until we're out for now, until things get back to normal and the world returns to the way that it should be. But any tips? We have written these adventures in our adventure boxes to be run directly, basically so you can read it once through and then run it. But manage it effectively. There's a lot of NPCs in Shattered Shield because we wanted the world to be full. So I would suggest that you add or take away, or I would say take away any ones that you feel maybe too much to handle within one session. That's a big one. And make it your own. This is just a guideline. Brandon wrote them and him and I kind of created the story arc and all of that. And so I would just suggest that you make sure that you make it your own, because it is your story and your world, ultimately. Question from last night. I love questions from last night about kind of what was going on. Oh, first off, Patron asks, is a dash an action in combat? Yes, dash is an action in combat. Shadster from last night, Coachka72 said, is Matt Mercer and Lillard going to come back? Lillard said he would come back. I'd love to have him back as Borth. Mercer, we've talked about him coming back as well. So there's a very good possibility that might happen. Was the enemy that was pulled in the water by Bacalhau rescued by his ship? I imagine he was. They slowed down so that they could do that. So, Patron, we will find out. Fairy's Blood, welcome over here. I saw you watching our YouTube video. Thank you for also joining us here. Means a lot. I am learning also how to DM. Any tips? The one big tip that I always give people, Fairy's Blood, is your players can only follow the leads you give them. I've said this a couple times throughout the last number of sessions, but if you're overwhelmed by the world, your players can only do what you give them. They won't kind of make up goals necessarily or things that they can follow, hooks they can follow. So just give them what you can manage. If you want to fully flesh out a world, if you have that kind of time and energy beforehand, that's great. But if not, just give them a couple different things. And so that they don't feel railroaded, give them a choice of a number of different things. Even though there's even if there's one through line through the adventure, give them side quests, little encounters, little merchant quests or mercenary quests that they can go on to kind of make them feel like they're not being pulled along a predetermined path. What I'd like to ask, actually, Fairy's Blood, what you are looking to DM first, what you're using. Is it a predetermined module, or how are you going by that? That'd be a great place to start as well. Afinir says, could you make a shirt that says shafts are dangerous and show David's character head cut off from Into the Mist? Mind-blowing move. Totally love your DMing. That's good. That's really good. Yeah, that was a quick, funny tidbit that we've revealed before and behind the screen. But A.A. Fenner, that was a last-minute decision. Dave and I decided that he was going to be a red shirt, basically, for that session, and that he was going to die. And that was the point of that character. I didn't know how, though, but I figured I'll figure it out as I go. And I had all these ideas, there's all these creatures, but they took so long to get to where they did that I was like, I don't know how I'm going to kill him. Like, I don't know how I'm going to let this character die. Because Dave could only come for one session. And it's Curse of Strahd, and people should die. So he said, I looked down the shaft, and right away I was like, there it is, right there. And literally, very last minute, it was a moment that I could kind of have a cliffhanger kind of oh no moment, and it was really cool. And I'm glad that it came across the way that it did. And thank you. I appreciate that. Skyhawk asks, Jason, did you originally plan on 2 shark baddies, or did you add that the fight went on as the fight went on? Okay, so little tidbit of information. That encounter calls for, and this is within the Tides of Wildemount, the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount, the Tide of Retribution adventure. My brain just stopped working for a second. That encounter calls for 8 Sahuagin and 2 shark abominations. We'll see what happens later, because it actually makes it easier for the players to get out of. But I was like, I don't know if they can handle all this, and I don't want to kill them yet. I don't want them to get to the final kind of. This isn't even the final battle. This is just the ambush on the ship. So I just decided that the first one, when it was close to death, the second one would come on board, just to kind of space it out and space out the Sahuagin. Instead of putting 8 on the ship at the same time, I just put 4 and then have been kind of adding them as I go. But yeah, I'm taking it easy on them on that one. And I love questions like that. Like the questions like, What were you thinking when you did this? What was going on behind the screen during that? That's the kind of stuff I love. Love all your questions, but those are the ones that get my brain going. What will the Clovis Concord do in response to the failure of apprehending their target? Well, there's a couple things. So a couple of the thoughts that I'm going through, and I won't tell you what happens, but I'll tell you the thought process for me. First is there's a survivor. So before, the Clovis Concord didn't necessarily know what was going on that ship. It would have been difficult to tell during the night what was happening on the other ship from the one ship. But the problem is that Bacuriel let one go. And now that one is going to go back and report what was seen. So I was looking at the laws of the Clovis Concord, and Josh and Julian and I were laughing because, or not laughing, but we were discussing it yesterday and laughing, that murder in the Clovis Concord, according to the Clovis Concord, is 5 to 10 years imprisonment and $5,000. If it's a Zalezo member that it's caused against, it's doubled. So that's 10 to 20 years imprisonment or 10,000 gold. And they killed 8 of them. So that is 8 counts of murder to that degree. So just a kind of an understanding of the severity of what they just were a part of. And it's going to be interesting to see how it goes from here on in. Doe107 says, any advice on fairly newer players also looking to get into DMing? And this is going to be funny, but you guys are doing what you should be doing in the sense of watching streams. So if you're a player wanting to DM, I actually learned a lot of 5e through osmosis of watching Critical Role, actually. And just kind of like hearing the rules being kind of spoken about and kind of taught. So watching live streams for me, I think, is a great way to kind of do that. And also just try one out. Try a one shot with your group. Ask the DM if he wants a break and say, hey, I'd like to actually DM a one shot. Can I do that? And then see how it goes. And then kind of, edge into it or kind of crawl into it that way would be a good suggestion there. Adabelle Rosette says, any tips for incorporating character backgrounds into the campaign? So not only incorporating, so this is my plan, and this is always my plan for all adventures. It's hard with pre-written adventures, but I always find ways to pull information from parts of the adventure and make it specific to the players. What can I tie into this player's background that actually happens in the campaign? Characters, events, whatever. For this campaign, and for Critical Role too, you'll notice that Matt sends the Critical Role characters on quests based on what their histories are. Ford with Ukutoa and so on and so forth. So he really kind of, and what better way to motivate your players to go down the path that they're going to go than to actually tie it into the backstory. So in this case, I will be writing specifically to their stories. I will be giving through lines, I should say, or storylines that are specific to each player, and then they decide kind of what they follow and what they don't. So I would say not only am I incorporating character backgrounds, but they're central to what happens in the campaign, and that's a great way to buy your players in. From Dag, how much worse would the shark encounter be since you said you were taking it easy on them? So yeah, like I said, there was supposed to be way more of them, and they don't have their armor on, which made it even worse. And that was one of the things. I was like, crap, they didn't put their armor on. This is supposed to happen right at dawn. They're about to learn a lesson, but I don't want to kill them all easily. So that was another consideration as well. Pop of Pun says, it was a huge package a friend got from y'all. He's a DM, but I was wondering if there are any player content within them as well. Okay, so you're talking about our adventure boxes. There's nothing necessarily for the player other than in every box that we have, there is a give out that we have that the players get during the session. There's a wooden mug in the first one. There's like letters and things that we give to the players that the DM is supposed to give to the players. So there are items that are supposed to be given to the players, but they are Dungeon Master centric boxes currently. Hopefully that answers your question. S. Good Kai says, has Dave set up a P.O. box for you all yet? I don't think he has yet. Should we call him again and ask him? Let's do that. Let's call David again and ask him. And we're going to see if he answers this time. Let's see. Here we go. Hey, David, I'm live on the internet right now.
What?
Yeah, for behind the screen.
Okay.
Yeah, say hi to the internet.
Hi, internet. I was just on the internet.
You were. Aren't we kind of always on the internet?
Yeah, we are. We are.
Yeah.
I was having a Zoom call with my family.
Aw, isn't that sweet?
Yeah.
Good.
I've got to put my kiddos to sleep, but I can come back.
No, well, I just have a single question for you. Somebody asked about the P.O. box, so this is my way to guilt you into looking into that even more.
That's my job?
Yeah. Yeah, I had mentioned that you were going to look into it and let me know what to do.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I haven't done that because I thought you were doing it, but I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's my fault, apparently.
It's not your fault, but they're asking. They just said, S. Good Kai just said, has Dave set up a P.O. box yet for you all yet? And I said I would call you to hold you. And everybody's like, hi, Dave. Hi, Dave. Hi, all that stuff. Live on the internet.
Yeah, they can follow me on RealmSmith_Dave and hound the crap out of me.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, if you want a PO box, follow him on RealmSmith_Dave. Dave or David? Dave. RealmSmith_Dave, and you can hound him there. And he has great content, guys, for Bacalhau. He's doing incredible work out there, so join him.
Thanks, man.
No worries.
Yeah, I'll look it up. I'll get that done.
You know what? What time are you putting your kids to bed?
Pretty soon. The boys got to go to sleep now, and then the girls will just do whatever. So.
Okay, so do you want to call back at 8:45 and we'll take some Bacalhau questions?
Yeah, man.
Can you guys hear Dave okay if we just do it this way?
You want to Zoom or something?
I don't think I can I can't bring it right up on my screen yet. I don't have that set up.
Okay.
But we can do that better next week if you wanted to be on next week.
Yeah, whatever you want, man. I'll come back at 8:45.
Okay, yeah. Call me back at 8:45.
All right, man. Bye.
Okay, cool. Bye. There we go. That's how things get done. So we're going to get that sorted out. P.O. box hopefully on its way, and just bug him about it. Okay, and we'll get through these questions quick so that I can get back so that David, when he calls, we can get some questions for David. Lots of great questions today, guys. Lots of them. Love this so much. And so many new folks that I haven't seen ask questions before on Behind the Screen. This is great. And I think a record viewership tonight for Behind the Screen as well. Really, really exciting, and thank you so much. Okay, so many questions. Hang on one sec. Let me just get up. Okay, here we go. Comment from last night in the chat. Shatster says, this is Dave, Dad of the Millennium. Jay gets award for involving his kid with the legacy this group is building within the world of D&D. Thanks so much. Oh, Jay gets a hashtag Dad of the Millennium award for involving his kid with the legacy this group is building. Well, thank you so much. My son does play in the noob stream. You've probably seen it on YouTube. He's 13. His name's Ethan. He plays Wynn, a wood elf ranger. Love it, and it's so much fun, and I'm glad that he's a part of it, so you can check that out. Which Dwarven Forge sets do you use for your table? That's Prometheus Bound asking. Right now, for a lot of the stuff in Palmaflora and so on, I am using, Dread Hollow Forest, the Mountain set, Caverns Deep, and Dungeons and Doom are all the ones that we're using currently. Oh, and the City one. The City set, City Builder, and Castle Builder. We're using all of them currently, but those are the ones. Kyburn says, what was going through your mind when David decided to grapple one of the guys and take him overboard? I was thinking, how the heck is he going to catch this ship? He narrowly did it, and he pulled it off. But I was like, they're going to have to turn back and get Bacalhau later. Carrie on YouTube. Right. That's right. Adabel Rosette is Carrie on YouTube. On Twitch, got it. Awesome. Question, do you have any plans? This is from Ray G. Stewart. Do you have any plans to visit Scotland one day? Wink, wink, haha, yep, guess who, haha. That's great. Welcome, bud. I'm glad that you're here. And I know you said that you were going to be Ray G. Stewart. That's awesome. And I'd love to come to Scotland. That is it's on my bucket list. Another comment from last night from Shatster says, Emperor 1 makes coming to the table, RealmSmith makes coming to the table all the more enjoyable. I look forward to you guys and your streams every week. Makes the weeks more bearable. Guys, man, you get me all misty. Jeez. And Fairy's Blood says, thank you, Jason. Question, Patron. Are the Clovis, and make sure, folks, that you follow us, actually, all of us on our Twitch, on our Instagram and Facebook pages, because that's where we do a lot of our announcements. It's hard to communicate with people through Twitch outside of streams. So if you were at RealmSmith TV, or we're / RealmSmith TV on Instagram and Facebook, so you can follow us all there, and then you can get all the information that you need out of that. I don't think this is working. Did you guys see this work? I don't know if it's been working or not. I haven't seen it. So, yeah, make sure you do that. Are the Clovis Concord corrupt? Can you give some examples of how corrupt they are? I can't give examples, but yes, there is some corruption in the upper ranks of the Clovis Concord, for sure. Duh107 says, is there an intention to have a long-standing bit of tension in the story between the Clovis Concord? There was not an intention. That is coming to be, though. And that's my thing. I never have expectations or intentions necessarily for my players. And that could have gone a billion different ways. They could have said, no, we're not fighting them. They could have, there's so many things that could have happened. They could have killed all of them, and then there's nobody to tell the story. But that is the way it is absolutely looking. And I will play into that for sure. Comment from Skyhawk, well played in fight, staggering the baddies. Ha, thanks. No worries. Pope of Puns says, as a player, I tend to unintentionally make brokenish builds. So far, only one DM I've played with can manage them. Is there a particular way to avoid doing this? Also, friend who got your box was in a call with y'all's Discord mods when it came in. I don't know what box he got. Yeah, that was our adventure box. I'm so glad, and I hope you guys really, really enjoy them. Brokenish builds. Give me an example of what a brokenish build would be. I'm assuming you just mean like a really powerful kind of build. And for me, I'm not into kind of min-maxing and making really powerful players just to be able to kind of beat the DM, because you never beat the DM. The DM's here to really make it fun for you. So your DM should be able to, for the most part, kind of work with you to create a narrative. It's not a versus scenario, or it shouldn't be. That's a really old school kind of mentality. At my table, it's about us creating narrative together, and there's a respect that they have that I have their best interest at heart. Non-janky characters. Yeah, no, I get that. I think I understand what you're saying, Pope of Puns. But, like I said, there are power builds in D&D, but I would just say that it's more important to make a build for a character that you enjoy. And if you enjoy it, and if it happens to be powerful, it just happens to be powerful. Some builds are more powerful than others, are more ideal than others. Some people prefer the role play. Some people, it's all up to what you enjoy and how you, and how you like to play your game. Do you know what kind of lightning experiment Bolt was trying to conduct? I do not. What would have happened if lightning struck the mace? I don't know. We would have found that out as we went, because it'll probably happen again. Ray G. Stewart says, what's been your favorite campaign to DM that you have streamed so far? They're all great for their own ways, but I think Curse of Strahd, just because it was a favorite of mine when I was a kid, for different reasons. Curse of Strahd, because of the nostalgia factor. That was one of the campaigns I played when I was a teenager, and I loved it, and it really enwrapped me in that world. But Into the Mist, but Wildemount, because it's such an honor to play in the world of Critical Role. and kind of blessed by Matt Mercer. Like, it's crazy. So they're both wonderful for their own reasons. Do you witness the rolling of all characters being made? Not always. I do trust my players. I don't think that they would purposely power build. That's just not the kind of group I play with. Question from Dag. I heard a story from a DM that his players used their abilities to bypass mini story, and the DM lost a player when he tried to tell them no, it would not work. Again, it's unfortunate when I hear stories about players and DMs at odds, because it should be a narrative adventure. It's an experience together. You're building a narrative together. I mean, I could kill players' characters, and I've had them get upset before, but it's not me killing them. It's the dice. It's the monsters that are in the adventure. I would never purposely set up an encounter that was meant to kill a player, ever. That's not fun for me. This isn't a PvP situation. This is me creating a fun experience that is as balanced as possible so that they can have fun at the table. So that's really sad. That makes me sad. It makes me a little angry too. You can see that. You can see that kind of intensity that I have regarding that topic, because it just doesn't make sense to me. Let's go down. Going down. I think we're getting to the point, because I'm seeing all the hello Daves. Phone is good, they're saying. Were they supposed to have so much combat last night, or this is Puffy Lion, or did you have to change up the game plan? Yes, so they were supposed to, in the sense that, again, supposed to is a difficult term, but they were supposed to have the Clovis Concord combat, but then I thought there would be some more role play and stuff in between the two. I really did. I thought maybe they would question Diarco, they questioned the captain more. They just decided to go to sleep, so it just moved the timeline forward quicker. Question for Dave already, and maybe I'll ask this first, is will you be returning for Curse of Strahd? I will say that Dave hasn't been in Curse of Strahd. I don't know what the full cast is going to be for Into the Mist when we come back to it yet. I know Dave Shaheen, of course, who played Roan, will be back, so we'll have to see how that all works. I'd love to have everybody at the table, but it's just really difficult. Thank you, Retro1123, for subscribing. That means a lot. Fairy's Blood said, I noticed you guys from the Curse of Strahd, episode 12, with the mats, and then saw the first episode of this campaign. Well, thank you, Fairy's Blood. I hope you enjoy all of our content moving forward. And again, make sure that you follow us on all our socials. I'd love to say hi. Question for Skyhawk. Were you surprised that Snow let it slip to Bucky? Wow. Bucky, wow. That's great. That is a new one. Buck, wow. They were pirates. Yes, I was, actually. He kind of talked around it a little bit. I think he realized he did it, and then he kind of did this. Very interesting, and we'll see if Buckliao remembers that. And be careful about spoilerific questions for Dave when he calls back. Because, let's see. Question, were you surprised how fast the players fought the Concord Navy? That's from Retro1123 again. No, it dragged a little longer than I would have liked. I should have kind of wrapped it up a bit more closer to the end. I think that for the sake of the viewers, the kind of leftover kind of stragglers, I could have wrapped that up faster. But they did all right. But it was supposed to be a very difficult fight, of course. How do you penalize natural ones? Patron says. I always make it something negative. I have fun, even if it's out of combat, even if it's just a ability check. And you guys have heard through the combat. But I also penalize monsters and NPCs for natural ones. Last night, the lieutenant commander got a bunch of them, and he lost his sword. He had to go pick it up. Then he broke it again, and he lost it completely. So. I just make it more narrative than just a bad kind of thing to happen. My favorite thing to do is if a player is shooting into combat with like a crossbow or a bow, and they hit a natural one, maybe they hit their own player, right? Let's see. Some more gifted tiers. Thank you, duh. I feel bad calling you duh, but that's what your name is. Lots of activity on the Discord tonight, too, during this. Let's see. Question from Duh107 again. How excited are you to see all of the interactions between both the characters and the players in this campaign? I love it. And we have a really great, we're all friends at the table. As you all kind of know, we're all just friends. Some of us met through D&D and through other people, but we're all friendly. So the interactions are just so fun. My favorite is seeing two characters connect. We saw it a lot in Into the Mist near the end, where they're having really meaningful connections as characters. We saw Bacalhau and Snow have a bit of a connection at the end of last session, or closer to the end, kind of in the middle. It's my favorite thing, one of my favorite things as a DM. So very excited to see them continue to. Thank you, Shadster, for gifting a tier. That means a lot. To Fairy's Blood, welcome as a subscriber. That's great. Let's see. And yeah, you're right. It's not fun for the players either, duh, for sure. Question: Do you intend, Daza287? Do you intend the PCs go to 3rd level on stream so we, the viewers, can see their choices and the new abilities? That's a great question. I always do narrative level ups, so I love doing it. I don't always do it, but I love to do it. So when their characters reach a certain level, I tell them, you don't get the abilities until I tell you about them in game. So Into the Mist, for example, Sterling, who is a Warforged, has this kind of like upgrade and this voice that happens in his head where it's like, Sterling, you have reached level 2. And then all of a sudden, it beep, 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 and little lights go off and things like that. So I love doing that, and I will continue to do that. I wonder if that's what you mean. I don't know if we'll do like a workshop of leveling up characters, but that's an interesting thing that we should actually talk to Joel Auger about doing on the player's table. That would be great. Having some of the players on the player's table leveling up the characters. I'm going to mention that to Joel. Actually, somebody write that in the Discord right now if you can, and just tag Joel in it. That'd be a great way to remind him to do that for player's table. How would you handle players whose main focus is to increase their AC? As long as they do it within the game rules, why not? You know, it's funny because Sterling has an AC of 20 or 21 or something crazy like that because he's a Warforged. But he still is susceptible to magic. He's still susceptible to higher hits. And he got tons of damage from stuff. So, you know, AC isn't the be-all, end-all. If that's the player, if that's the character they want to create, they are giving up other things in order to do that. And there's always a way as a DM to find a way to challenge them still. So I wouldn't look down on them or kind of discourage it. And yeah, Adabel says all my players have AC over 18. And again, there's other ways, right? Magic is a great way to stop, you know, or to challenge them outside of. You just got to get creative. Question from Simon 1960. Welcome, Simon. I don't think you've been here before. Question: any recommendations on how to get started playing D&D? Great question. Finding a group of friends that would like to try it with you, so they don't have to be D&Ders. Many people at the table, let me tell you right now, Christina has never played before. Mel never played before she met me. Joel had only played when he was a teenager. Dave Bacalhau has never played before. Brandon had been playing a little bit before, but then started playing serious with us. All of our noobs, only Ryan had played before. So I'll tell you right now that it's amazing when you start to do something fun, how some of your friends try it and love it, especially D&D. It's very, especially because also it's got a a better how do I put this? A better sort of rep than it used to. It's not just geeks playing anymore, and so I would say that try and find some friends to try it with. I would start with a starter set. So either our adventure box would be great when you can subscribe to it again, or get like the Minds of Fendelver D&D starter box. I think they have 2 starter boxes. Then you have everything in there. You've got dice, you've got character like cutout things, you've got character sheets, you've got an adventure, and you can go that way. If you can't find people to play with physically, you can find people to play virtually on Fantasy Grounds or Roll20. And we actually have a thread or a channel in our Discord that you can join, and people post looking for a game. It's called Looking for a Game or something like that. But that's a good way to do it too. Doing a lot of talking. All right. Question for Kyburn. There's Dave again. Hey, buddy.
Hey, man.
How's it going?
Am I back on time?
Yeah, you sure are right on time, dude. You came right on at 1:45. I'm just gonna answer a couple last questions here. Actually, I had the next question is a question for Dave, and you guys can hear him just fine. If you have a hard time, let me know. The question is: at any point, did you have any regrets for taking the guy overboard?
No.
The moment you realized that the ship.
Yeah. So when I was thinking about what I was going to do in my turn,
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about the ladders, and I wanted to ask if we were still moving.
Right.
And I only asked one of those things.
Yes.
So as soon as you said, that the ships kept moving,
Yeah.
I did panic a little bit. And
Yeah.
I had to think about what I was going to do. Because I just thought I was going to sink down into the abyss with him.
Yeah.
And drown him.
And
And then come back up.
And then come back up.
Not thinking that, the ships are going at like 15 knots.
Yeah.
I'm a turtle.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. So I had to really quickly come up with a solution.
A solution for that. Yeah, exactly. Did you at any point? I'm going to put you towards the camera here, so that people can actually see you while they watch here. There you go. You're kind of at the top of my DM screen.
Nice.
Do you further to that? I noticed that Bacalhau has a bit of a kind of dark side that I didn't expect him to have. Like, and just in some of the ways with the dissonant whispers and that. What's kind of your thought process there? Because at first he was pretty tame and kind of like innocent, right?
Yeah, so he was. I do give a lot of my backstory on my Instagram. So he was taken as a prisoner when he was really young. He doesn't know what friends are.
Yeah.
But he's seen friendship between the wizard that took him and how that wizard treated his friends, which
Yeah.
was still like a master-servant relationship. It wasn't that kind
Yeah.
to them. Certainly wasn't kind to Bacalhau. So he doesn't know how to kill people kindly. He doesn't know how to just kind of end it. It's kind of a brutal thing, and he's actually very calm in the face of calamity because he's experienced so much of it. So he kind of calmly does kind of terrible things to people.
Yeah.
And that's just because how he was raised.
And that's all he knows, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Good one.
He's not noble. He didn't learn like a noble honor code.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. I am going to just skip some of the questions that are for me, and we'll go to Dave questions. But keep those questions, folks, and then you can ask them either on Monday or on the following Tuesday next week. Tons of Bacalhau. Somebody calls you Bacalhau. That's their new term for you, apparently. And there's tons. Bacalhau. Bacalhau. Wow. That was weird. Okay, that's too far.
That is his goal in life, is to just have a baby. So
Yeah. Okay. So Bacalhau is actually not so bad. He's looking for a mate, right?
Yep.
Okay. There's lots of bucka wow emojis, which is good. Sorry, I'm just kind of scrolling through them all.
Sure. And I mean, I can talk a bit more too about some of the things.
Oh, hang on. Can't a turtle swim faster underwater?
Turtle, maybe.
Yeah. But turtles don't have a swim speed.
They don't have the swim speed,
Yeah.
so that means it's half of their regular movement.
Yeah.
Now they have pretty good movement.
Yeah.
It's 30. So plus I have Lone Strider, and that's why I had the race with Isla in the first episode.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to kind of disprove the theory that turtles or turtles are slow.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to race her, cast Lone Strider, have a movement speed of 40,
Yeah.
be able to beat her in a race. Instead, she ran into me and he fell over.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Cool. Do you have any? I'll answer this quick question. Do you have any house rules, and what are they? We do have house rules. I'll tell you about one, which is that for natural 20s, we take the full amount of the first die would be. So if it's a D6, we take 6 points, and then we roll the second one and add that. That's just a bit of a house rule that we do. Question for Dave. How did you... This is from Duh107. How did you get into D&D, and how did you choose your character?
Okay, so my first game was almost 3 years ago to the day. Like in 3 weeks, it'll be my third anniversary of my first day. In fact, you came over to my place a couple weeks before that, and we did a little session 0, like a one-on-one thing where you just...
I'll never forget it. Just basically beside your house, right? In that little kind of alleyway, we had a cigar and some drinks and...
Yeah, we had some drinks, and you brought over like a tiny little 10 by 10 of tiles and 3 goblins and a character.
Yeah.
And you said, "This is you. This is what you see. What do you do?"
Yeah.
And we just started going with it.
Yeah.
And after that night, I couldn't wait to play again.
So good.
Like just being so excited to play again. Now for this character, I'd only played 2 gnomes and a fire genasi.
Yep.
In the past, I loved the idea of this really nice passive kind of guy who was kind of big and kind of clumsy. I wanted to make somebody that was really likable, maybe lovable. And he was kind of new. I'd only seen him played like a couple of times, and I thought I could do a decent version of a turtle.
Yep.
And as we started putting them together and putting together his story, it got really exciting. I mean, just to go back to the idea of like turtles being slow, and I thought, wow, if a turtle could manipulate time,
yeah,
that's an even like another dimension on the misconception about turtles.
Yeah, totally. That's great.
Totally.
Yeah, and actually, I don't know if you said it, but the time that they live, you know, turtles in real life or tortoises live a really long time. Turtles do not.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Their lifespan is only like 40 or 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But generally, once they have offspring,
yeah,
they raise them for a year,
yeah,
and then they die.
Yeah.
So even to live to that point is probably not that common.
Yeah. Exactly.
You'd spawn earlier.
Yep. A question from Batrone. So did Bacalhau find out that pirates are unlawful? What will he do if he finds out that they are unlawful?
Yeah, so we've had, I don't know, this might make people unhappy, but we've had conversations about alignment before, where like I chose an alignment for him at the beginning.
Yeah.
But his character is developing quite a bit still.
Yep.
And I don't know how it's gonna end up. I really don't.
Yeah.
So he was always under a master.
Yeah.
Now he's free.
Yeah.
He kind of treats his friend Snow like Snow is his master.
Yep.
But now he's discovered, well, Snow also has a master, and she has a master.
Yep.
And he thought he was helping his friend by fighting these guys.
Yep.
But it turns out that they're kind of the good guys, and I'm a bad guy now. Or am I a good guy? Am I is helping my friend and their cause? Is that still make me good? So he's really in this big battle of like, what is good? What is right? Who's in charge? Why are they in charge? What gives them the authority and the right to be in charge over these people? He was shocked when he found out that Snow was a pirate, because that it didn't make him hate Snow. It just turned his thinking upside down on what is right and what's
Sure,
good.
sure, sure. And when it comes to alignment, that's kind of another house rule for us. Is I don't hold true to alignments. It helps to maybe inform a player of how they start playing their character, but just like people, characters should evolve, and their actions should affect how the world responds, not necessarily their alignment kind of drive them. I want them to do what they do, and then we will adjust their alignment based on that. So that's that too. Is and they use the emojis. Is the bacalhau emoji mad at the snow emoji? So
No,
is bacalhau mad at Snow?
no, not at all. No, he's not mad at him. He's more questioning his own motives, I guess, and his own perception of what's right. He's not mad at Snow at all. Snow is still his friend, but he has also learned that Snow will lie in order to benefit himself. That
Right.
happened when we were buying the helmets.
Yeah.
Snow told a few little lies to kind of
Yep.
help our situation along,
Hmm.
and I had the question of like, well, would Snow then lie to Bacalhau if it would help Snow out?
Yeah.
So not mad at him, but certainly starting to see that the relationship has a different dynamic than he thought.
Totally. And then a follow up to that question is from Fairy's Blood says, Dave, how come Bacalhau sticks so close to Snow?
Yeah, so it's because he grew up with always having a master, somebody in charge of him, and his master's friends were still subordinate to his master. So even though he knows he's free and feels free, he doesn't have the experience to just go off in life and get by on his own.
Yeah.
He wants to be helpful, so in a way he's helping blind Snow, but has made himself like a servant to Snow.
Yeah, that's great. Did you forget about using Dunamancy's time stop on some of those nat 20 that Jason was rolling, or is there just not an opportunity that you thought of?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna go with I forgot. I think there's the tendency to use it selfishly,
Yeah.
and instead of on the party. Now, also I was in my shell for a lot of that.
Yep.
Getting
Yep.
beaten, so I don't know that I would have had the wherewithal to say, oh, he is getting hit. I should do this.
Right.
That's my excuse for forgetting.
No, that's good. In Curse of Strahd, so Into the Mist, did you really want a burning revenge against Falfur?
Oh, wow. On a personal level. Okay, so when he turned into what's he called? What he turned into? Jay.
What?
What did Oral turn into? He was
Revenant.
remnant. Yeah. So when he the characteristic of that character is that he goes after whoever killed him. Now he didn't necessarily associate it with being Strahd or like the evil that's in the world. He just knows that Falfur went up, got out of the thing, and it dropped on his head.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I mean, he actually was kind of neutral towards. Sorry, I don't remember all of the terms for the people that were in the world, but he was neutral towards them, right? They were not
Yep.
hostile.
Yeah.
So yeah, the only person that he could blame was Falfur.
Right. I'm gonna move you a little closer because people are saying it's too quiet where it was.
All right.
So I'm just gonna put you like right here, so people can't see you, but I can see you. Let's see. People are asking for plushies, of course, of
Looked into it.
of Bacalhau. So have I actually. We should continue that conversation. People are saying somebody said they thought They thought it was called Dudamancy at first, which sounds like surfer magic.
Yeah, it's Dudamancy.
Duna, yeah, but Dudamancy's funny. Yo, dude.
Dudamancy.
Last question I'll take, because it's 9 o'clock. This is from Duh107. Dave, was there an ulterior motive to being in Palma Flora, or was it chance happening with the party at that time?
I just want to find a mate so I can die.
Yep, that's the only reason, right?
Yeah, he's not really sure how to get back to where he was born. All he knows is he was born on the Menagerie Coast, which is like a huge area.
Yeah.
That's it. So he was just heading back. Find a mate and die.
Yep. And, oh, sad. Everyone's like crying faces now. Oh, that's kind of sad. Dude, that's so sad.
That's his joy in life.
I know.
He'd be so happy if he could do that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he's not suicidal. He wants to...
It's hilarious. All right, dude. Thank you so much for joining us. We should have you on Zoom. I want to start having players on once a week kind of thing, I think, on this, just so people can ask you guys questions as well. I think Joel wants to do that too. Everyone says, thanks, Dave, for jumping in. Appreciate it, dude.
Do follow me, though, on RealmSmith_Dave on Instagram, because I post videos of my backstory and let people ask questions there all the time.
Yes. So, yeah, you guys, whatever questions, if you ask them tonight and we didn't get to them, I still see questions coming up for Dave. So ask them, please, on his RealmSmith_Dave on Instagram. You can catch him there. And he, again, posts lots of really great content, and we're so thankful that he does that, because it just makes everybody. And tonight, I think, was record viewership for Behind the Screen tonight. So we want to thank everyone out there for all of those wonderful subscriptions and for your follows and all of that stuff. Thank you, Dave. You have a good night, buddy. We should talk plushies. And everyone out there, have a good one. I said that I had an idea that I want to do. Oh, Dave just left. Bye, guys. You guys have a great night. It has been wonderful and fun to have you all again for Behind the Screen. It is a joy to do this and just to sit here during this crazy apocalypse and just chat and geek out and talk about the wonderful game that we love and create. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you so much. And save your questions for next session or for next Behind the Screen or for Thursday for Joel. See you guys. See you for Players Table on Thursday. Peace.